Welcome to another edition of Wake Up the Echoes presented by TireRack.com. I'm your host, Tony Simeone, and this week we are talking men's basketball. What a week to talk men's hoops, as Micah Shrewsberry has this team playing probably as well as they've played all season long. They're coming off a couple of big victories this past week against Wake Forest and then again over the weekend on senior night against Clemson. And when this episode comes out, they'll be getting ready to go into Chapel Hill to take on the Tar Heels. So it was great to talk really at length about how this team has turned the corner this year and is now playing their best basketball in the month of March. Later in the show, we talked to former Irish basketball player Harold Swanagan. Always great to catch up with Swan, talk to him about his work on campus in the Gold Center, and just about all the different things he's doing in the community and on campus to help Notre Dame athletes prepare themselves for life after sports. Great conversation with both guys, so let's not waste any time. Let's talk to Micah Shrewsberry. Okay, Coach, welcome back to your show. Second to last show, and it's the last show we're going to have for a few weeks until the season concludes, and I think I'm catching you at a really good time. Team's playing well. I want to talk a lot about the 2 wins from this past week. What has it felt like, I think, though, in the locker room? After the locker room, I know we get to dance a little bit, you get to celebrate winning, but it just feels like the team's in a really good place right now. What are the vibes like for you as the head coach of this team that's playing some good hoops?
Just fun, right? I don't know, I've been fortunate in my career. I haven't been a part of many seasons where we have 12 wins at the end of the day, right? And you go in there after every game, and it feels like we're undefeated, right? Like, these guys are having so much fun. I'm having so much fun coaching them. I think we are seeing the improvements. We are really enjoying playing with each other. We're really enjoying seeing other guys have success also. Yeah. And that's kind of the sign of a really good team. And I think there was rumors. There was rumors that before I made it back to the locker room that the guys were in the locker room and in the back chanting, "Defense you." Back there. Defense you.
Are we maybe a nickname that we have for the team?
I don't know about that. We've never talked about it. It's never been said, but I think they're trying. They're starting to believe in their abilities and what they're doing on the defensive end of the floor.
I looked it up this morning, actually. I think 22nd in the country in points allowed right now, getting close to top 20. We've talked about it throughout the year. What about this specific group have you seen that's enabled them to just lock in and commit so much to defense? I think to the Wake Forest game, it was 43 points allowed in the first half, and they just kind of flipped the switch and said, no, that's not who we are. We're going to keep them to 65, and that's exactly what you did. How have they been able to do that this year?
I think a lot of different things. They've really bought into the system. They really picked it up, what we're trying to do. Now, the further we go into the season, they're taking small tweaks from game to game and really executing that. And then situations are coming up that have happened before.
Okay.
So now, we can just go in and talk about one certain thing at halftime. It's like how we need to change and adjust to that. And then we don't do it in the second half, right? Or we execute it, right? What we talk about, hey, we can't do this anymore. We just don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's allowed them to really kind of dig in on that end and know that, we feel like in tough moments, tough spots, we can come up with a stop.
The video content that I've seen that comes out of the huddles, I see you and your staff communicating, and you guys are going fast because the game is moving fast in the huddle. You're saying stuff, and I can just get the sense guys are taking that in and executing it much quicker than maybe they were back in November. I heard you on another show talk about how this time of year, the way the season had gone, you can be thinking about Cancun. You can be thinking about transfer portal, what's next. And this team hasn't done that. And I think back to 2-10 in the conference, you lose 7 in a row. It's easy to do that. Why do you think they've been able to stay locked in and in this mindset that they've had that's really helped them, I think, turn the corner here the last 3-4 weeks?
I think they feel like they're still getting better. I think that's the biggest thing. There's still things that are new to them, right? If you have a feeling of there's going to be something new, it's not monotonous all the time.
Right.
right? Now you get into kind of the same feeling over and over again, and you don't have that same feeling. These guys are feeling the excitement. Like, even when we went through that losing streak, there were signs of improvement that we were getting better. We just weren't getting the end result. But I could see it, right? I've said it a few times. Like, I see them every day in practice. So I see the little things that they're doing and how they're growing, and they're seeing it too, right? So they want to come back each and every day. And then I think some of the older guys have done a great job of also kind of keeping that joy and excitement around it. And when those older guys have joy and excitement, the young guys, they don't know any better. They've never been through a season, right? They don't even know anything about this, or what it should be like. You know, they have no idea what's happening. All they're thinking about is the next day. And so they come in with great energy all the time. And now the older guys have an unbelievable attitude of growth and excitement and joy. And that just adds to this environment of what we're doing.
Let's talk about the older guys, because I was going to ask you about Senior Day this past week. You end with 2 on the road. So Senior Day comes, I guess, about as early as it can come. You had 3 seniors that were honored. I think they all play really unique and different roles for you. I want to kind of just go one at a time. Let's start with Raheem Brayton, who joined the team this year. You guys have a lot of guys at practice. And when we talked before the game, I thought you made a really interesting point about what he's done to help Markus Burton improve in practice. Just how important has he been kind of behind the scenes, being somebody that's helped Markus develop in this first year? And just what's Raheem's role been in this first year under you?
Yeah, it's been fun to see him this whole time, right? He was a manager in rebounding when I first got here and helping, in drills and whatever we needed to do. And then for him to make the team, try out, make the team, and then like in practice, what he does, right? He's the point guard on the scout team, and he's, helping to guard in different drills. But he challenges our guys, like, how he is athletically and physically. He's fast. He can handle the ball. He can, rebound. He can make passes. Like they have to guard him. I think that's the biggest thing is the guys that we've added, and Raheem kind of spearheads that as the point guard of that group. Like, if you don't guard those guys, they score in practice. And there's like times in practice where they are like, man, they're getting busy. Like, and I'm like, I got to tell them, like, you guys better pick this up.
Right.
Like, somebody's going to start getting upset here. Like,
you like that though. You need that, right? That's
you
helpful.
Need it. You have to have that. You have to have one group that's pushing another group to get better. And I think they've really done that. Raheem's really spearheaded that. And then there's one thing that like stood out to me about Raheem is we had a game earlier this year. I don't remember what game it was, but we had lost and we were in the locker room, and it could have been the Citadel.
I think he got in that game pretty early too. He played good.
Yeah. But we were in the locker room after the game, and everybody's kind of down and dejected. And at the end, like I finished talking, and the guys kind of all bring it up, and it's like, hey, 1, 2, 3 together. And it's like nobody really says anything, right? There's a couple of half talks. There's a couple of, not everybody puts their fist in and everything else. And he kind of spoke up. It was like, no, we're not ending this like this. Like, come on, everybody get up. Let's do this the right way. And like for a guy that doesn't play, that's hard to do. But that just showed the kind of person, the kind of leader he is.
That's neat. Another guy I want to talk about is Tony Sanders. He's been here now 4 years. I remember his first year was the COVID year. I think he still played the most that year than any other year in his career. Just he hasn't gotten on the floor that much, but you singled him out. I thought it was really neat at shoot around, gave him the first ever Servant Leader Award, which is going to be, I think, an annual tradition here for the team that you'll give to a player each year. I think Tony is one of the most fun guys to watch at practice, at shoot around. And you mentioned this when we talked too. The way he is just so supportive of his teammates is what stands out to me. What's been your impression in just a little bit less than a year being around Tony Sanders?
I think the way that you said, like, he supports his teammates, but the way his teammates support him, there might not be a guy that's more universally liked by everyone than Tony. I think he's got the respect of our coaches, and myself, because of he is in a tough situation, right? Like, this is an opportunity for him, like maybe to turn a new page and maybe get a chance to play. And The young guys have been really good, and some other guys have stepped up, and he hasn't gotten an opportunity to play, but it hasn't affected his attitude. And that, when you talk about your culture and when you talk about your program, like one guy can ruin it. And it ends up a lot of times being an older guy who's not playing, who now is pulling other guys in with him to like some kind of misery situation, right? And it affects everything. Like, he's been the biggest, most supportive guy of everybody on this team. And when he gets a moment, he gets an opportunity, everybody celebrates it in a big way because of how he treats them and who he is. So he is the definition of a servant leader because he's put everyone else in front of himself. And at the end of the day, that's going to come back to help him in a major way.
Yeah, I was glad he got on the floor, too, at the end of that one on senior day. Last guy, of course, is Matt Zona. I thought it was really cool you named him a captain. And then just with these 2 wins, he's gotten on the floor a ton. Played some huge minutes because of foul trouble to Keba. We had him on the show, I think maybe a couple weeks back. His threes just feel like fours to me. He's been around for so long now. We've talked about him in the past, but to see him, I guess, just perform that way on his senior day, what did that mean to you?
It was just fun to watch. Like it, that moment, like you get to these moments of, this kind of Hollywood ending of what it looks like, right? And he gets a chance. Keba gets in foul trouble and Zona has to play major minutes against a team that's going to the NCAA tournament on his senior day, and the day he's been, named a captain, and all of that comes together in one special moment. And it's really great to see because he's been awesome from the start. And, his minutes have gone up and down, like based on game to game. And he's always kind of stayed ready and always done what he needed to do to be prepared. And he made some big plays. He was good on the defensive end. He was really rebounding. I think the game before, Wake, he had 6 rebounds in 13 minutes. And then he comes back against Clemson and makes 2 big threes. And I guess the moment that I'm proud of is like anytime somebody hits a 3, especially in the corner, like right in front of our bench, like I love celebrating those. And
I think I saw you dapped him up on the way back.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah. Marcus just ran by me at Louisville. And
I've seen it. I know the footage.
Yeah, I hit him with one of these afterwards when he just ran past me.
He got you with this at the end, right?
Might have, yeah. But Zona was there. Johnny on the spot. Like gave me a high five on the way back, which was great.
Can always count on a captain to dap you up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Awareness of an older guy.
Let's just dive into the rest of the team this week because these 2 games I thought were a real big statement for your team. Obviously, they kind of speak for themselves against 2 teams at the top of the conference. But I think the way you were trending was kind of, can you prove it? Can you do it against these teams that have a ton to play for? Wake and Clemson have NCAA tournament aspirations, at least as far as the at-large is considered. The way you played this week, the guy that stood out to me after Marcus, and I want to talk Marcus in a second, though, is Tay Davis. The 18 points in the second half. We had him on the show a couple weeks back. I just see like the flashes becoming more frequent with him. Are you seeing that too? What is he doing here down the stretch that's just taking his game, it seems like, up a notch maybe every couple weeks or so?
Yeah, I think it's, him and I talked a couple weeks ago, about different things that we need, right, for our team, like to keep improving. At that point in time, Marcus has been a steady force for us. Braden's shooting has picked up, so he's given us a second consistent score. I'm like, Tay, like, you got to get into that mix for us.
Yeah.
Right. To give us another guy that can score for us, that can be assertive. And his assertiveness level, it goes up and down. Right. There's moments where he's like really, really aggressive. And then there's moments where he's not. Right. And that's when I get probably when you see the ire from me is the moments where he's just passive. Okay. And he's got the ability. But like I said, we're also asking a lot of him. Sure. And he's playing a lot of minutes. We're asking him to score. We're asking him to guard the best player on the other end. We're asking him to go rebound each possession on both ends of the court. And he's doing all of that. But this is also the first time he's really done that in his career.
Yeah.
Right. So now, like, he can see himself doing it, the better he's going to get. So he was good. He has to adjust because people guard him in different ways. They guard him with bigger guys a lot. And now he's starting to see some like how he can try and, take advantage of that from game to game.
I thought it was 50-50 in the Clemson game. He had a play where he came off a screen and just went right down the lane and he dunked it, and then came down. I think he got a steal, and then he was off to the races on his own. And for a split second there, I thought back while the game was happening to our conversation here about the Sean Kemp.
The moment.
I think Hall was coming, and I was just in my head, I just said, he's going to go up, he's going to bang on him, and he's going to hit him with the finger points. Yeah. And he drew the foul and he got the free throws. But did that go through your head, or were you thinking about other stuff? Because that's all I was thinking about in that moment.
I was not thinking that in the moment.
What were you thinking about? Just how we got to manage the clock and everything.
Come on, man. Let's get this layup. Let's finish this. Maybe get a foul on P.J. Hall. Hopefully it's his 4th, 5th. Let's get him out of the game at that point in time.
He's a problem.
But I was just excited. Like that, you never want to help away from the ball on a flare screen, right? They said the flare screen.
Okay.
We were a little bit late trailing Joe Girard over the flare screen. It was a good play. And we were late trailing the flare screen, but he saw it and he recognized it. He's guarding the guy that said it, right? Anytime you help away from the ball going towards the flare, that's when you get slipped, right? We got slipped early in the year, I forget, or a few games ago, because we helped towards the ball.
Okay. And
they slip right in front of you. He doesn't, he's in the right position, but he sees the pass and then he goes and gets it. Like that's just more. You break system sometimes, right? We always talk about staying in our system. Our defensive system is based on a lot of rules. But sometimes you can break system in an emergency. And that was an emergency. He broke system and got a steal just because he recognized it. Like we don't gamble for steals. We don't go for steals. We get steals because we're in position and we're doing the right thing. And they, you just happen to get them because you're in the right spot. That was him kind of being in system, doing the right thing, and then recognizing it and playing off instincts and getting a steal in that moment.
Okay, so that takes me to a follow-up. How do you coach that then? Because if you are so determined to get these guys to play within a system, but there are moments when they can break the system. But I assume if you break the system and it leads to a breakdown, that's not good either. How do you coach that? How do you communicate that? Because that seems like a tough tightrope to walk as a player, not wanting to make a mistake, but also as a coach, because you don't want to take their aggression away, it sounds like, but you want them to follow the rules. How do you do that?
Yeah, they're to the point now where they are following the rules.
Oh.
If he wasn't in the right spot, he'd have never been in position to get that steal.
Okay.
Right. But because he was doing the right thing, the moment presented himself for him to get a steal. Right.
Okay.
So they're reading the game. They're really reading the game. They're now they don't have to think about where the right spot is.
They're just there.
For the longest time, I had to think like, oh, hey, this is a flare screen. Where am I supposed to be? Mm-hmm. How do I communicate this to the guy that's getting screened? Like they were all thinking about that. Now it's just as natural as possible, right? So he recognized the screen. He called the screen. Ball happened to be in the air, and he had a chance to get it.
Yeah.
And he went and got it. Like his ability, and even Kerry Booth to a degree, their ability to go from guys that play on the perimeter and play on the post within the game is very unique. Yeah. Like, Tay Davis started on Shiflin.
Yeah.
But then he shifted out. Like when Kerry subs, he'll go to somebody else. And so, like he and Kerry flip back and forth, and guard guys on the perimeter and guard guys who are post guys. And it totally changes your defensive responsibilities.
Sure.
But for those guys to be able to do that within the game and switch back and forth is really unique and special.
It's been fun to watch him and Kerry really the last couple of weeks kind of become more consistent with their play. All right, let's talk Markus. I looked at the numbers this morning. I think I've got him top 10 in the conference in points, maybe top 5 or top 7 in assists, top 5 in steals, top 5 in field goals made. I could go on and put together a list at some point, but I don't need to get your opinion on if he should or shouldn't be ACC Rookie of the Year or where he should be in the conference when the season ends and all ACC is voted for. I have my opinions and everyone's going to vote on it. But you've seen a lot of freshmen play at this level. Can you try to just articulate to me and to the people listening how impressive it is that he's doing what he's doing so quickly at the college level? Because he's just getting better. He's scoring more. His floor game, as you point out every week, is getting better and better. You don't see a lot of freshmen play this well in March in the ACC. So how impressive is it what he's doing at this point in the year?
it's really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Like I only look at conference stats, right?
Okay.
Because like we played 18 conference. That's not a small sample size anymore. 18 conference games is a large sample size against similar opponents.
Right.
Right. So should somebody get a little bit more accolades because he balled out against Alcorn State at the start of the year?
Dang, right? Shots fired at Alcorn State.
And now I don't want to, like,
joking.
Hanover.
Pepperdine, take it out on Pepperdine.
Hanover, whoever it is. Like, why should that person be rewarded more because he's gotten 7 steals in the game or he hit 8 threes and now his numbers are a little bit different? It's like, no, we're in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah.
So we should be judged against what we do against the Atlantic Coast Conference teams. And if you look at the Atlantic Coast Conference, Markus is top 5 in scoring, assists, and steals for a freshman. All players in the league. Like, that's impressive, man. That's impressive. And he's doing it not as – he's number 1 on the scouting report. Everybody we play is number 1, right? Like, I don't want to hate on Jared McCain because he's a good player.
Yeah. But
he's probably the competition, right, for Markus for ACC Freshman of the Year. Kyle Filipowski's dude we talked about first.
Yeah.
Right? Jeremy Roach's dude we talked about second. He's a really good player on a really good team, but he's not getting the best dude every night.
Yeah.
Markus is getting the best player guarding him every single night. The game plan is how to stop him every single night. And he doesn't have the benefit. Like, he's got good teammates. Guys are playing well right now and doing good things around him, but it's geared to stop him. And he's still thriving within that. So, like, I don't know what else you can say about what he's doing for his team and how he's really carried us with a huge target on his back.
I'm happy to hear you say all that because one of the, I guess I'll call it a benefit of you guys playing so well is I got called this morning to talk to Wes Durham, who's going to call the game tomorrow on Sirius XM about Notre Dame against Carolina tomorrow. You're talking about Markus Burton. I said pretty much the same thing as you. I said, early in the year, if you wanted to say that Marcus's stats on a 2-10 ACC team, they were a little inflated because he had to do it all, you could make that case. But now they're winning. They're the hottest team in the conference. You can make the case. And he's still at the top of the scouting report, whereas his competition is probably third. So we're on the same wavelength there. Let's talk about Carolina because I think this is going to be an opportunity for your team and Markus to be seen by a lot of people that I'm going to guess have not watched them as closely. It's going to be a lot of eyeballs on that arena and on TV. This is actually going to release the morning of the game. I'm really excited to see you guys go into that building. It's a great test. It feels like the test is coming at the right time. What excites you about the opportunity to take this team the way they're playing right now into the Dean Dome to play a top 10 team in the country?
I think for us, we went in, I talked about this before Wake, and I talked about this before Clemson, right? And we'll use Clemson as an example.
Okay.
I told our guys, Clemson is an NCAA tournament team. There's no debate. Like, unless the wheels, like, completely fall off, which I don't think will happen. Like, they're going to be in the tournament. So, like, that's what I came here to do, is that, for us to be in the tournament every single year. Now, for our guys to get a chance to see it up close, right? That's what I wanted for them, right? Here we go. This is an NCAA tournament team. They're playing good basketball. Like, they didn't come in like they came in playing good basketball. So let's test ourselves. Measuring stick. Like, you're at your best, we're at our best. And let's see where we stand. This is what it's going to take for us to get to that level. North Carolina is a Final Four caliber team. Like, those are their aspirations. They're not aspiring to get in the tournament. They're aspiring to win the whole thing. That's my goal for this group, right? That's where I want Notre Dame to be, in that position.
Yeah.
Like, let's look at eye to eye. Where do we need to be to get there? Right? I want our guys to get a look at that up close and personal. And, I want us to play good basketball. Like, we haven't always played good basketball on the road. Like, I want us to go in and play our best, right? No pressure. We don't have any pressure on us, but, like, let's play the best that we can. I'll tell them when the game starts at 7, right? We started at 1 instead of noon at Syracuse. The game's at 7 o'clock. Let's start right when it tips, and let's play the right way. Let's play good basketball. We got nothing to lose, but let's measure ourselves up against, the crown jewel of the conference.
Mm-hmm.
They're at the top right now. Let's see what it's going to take for us to get there, and then let's measure from there.
I hesitate to bring it up, but I think it's in line with what you're saying. I'm starting to think a lot about Marquette, and we talked about that Marquette game, and that was an opportunity, like you said, let's see what this is like to be one of these teams that has these aspirations. And the strides you've taken that I see since Marquette they're enormous. So I'm excited to see you guys go into that environment and kind of put it on the line. I guess tonight when people are listening to this, it should be cool. Last one, it's going to come back. It's kind of off the wall here, but it's based on what we talked about earlier. And I had a note here. We just have to address this. So you mentioned Zona hits the 3. He's got you covered, daps you up pretty cleanly. Markus missed you in Louisville. This has been on my chest for a while here. When we end this show, a couple times we've been all over the place. I've been up here and you're coming with the fist, and then I'm changing to the fist and you're opening up, and then like we're doing weird finger stuff. I just think we got to, for my sake. Yeah. I don't know how you've been feeling. If it's been on, I'm sure it's been weighing on your head a lot.
Every day.
Every day. Like
every
Tay gets fouled and you're thinking, okay, how we're going to dap up after the game, after the radio interview. What should we do? Can we just get this straightened out so at the end of this show, end of an interview, we just have a plan so we don't have to deal with the weird situation? I'm open to all ideas, but how do we solve this?
I think we got to keep it simple. Like, I think, because like there's different moments, there's different things happening. Like, I was walking in just here at the start and you were sitting down. Like, I don't want to make you get up and then do the other. Like, simple fist bump. We can always connect that, right? Okay. Like, but if we're in between and we don't know what's going on, we're on different pages, right? We always, and this is big. This is big for us. Like, this is a huge moment for us. So
we talked to our team with this, just so you know.
Yeah, we talked to our team about communication. Mm-hmm. Communication builds trust and avoids confusion, right? That's what we're doing right now is we're having communication. So now there is no, like, we're building trust, but it avoids confusion. Like, do I open my hand here? Do I go fist bump? Like, here we go. We just go simple fist bump. Like, we keep it simple.
That's it.
We do that.
Never again anything else.
Extravagant. We don't need anything else. Simple, effective, like, but we're both on the same page. And now, like, people look at us and they're like, man, those two dudes are connected right there.
Yeah. That was a culture building moment right there. That's what you've been talking about. The communication, it all comes together. I can't tell you how much calmer I am now, because usually the last question, I'm like, all right, I'm asked this question and then got to get through this dap. But now, no problems. We'll just fist bump the rest of the way. And we're good.
I'm a very approachable guy, man. Jay came to me in show 1. I don't need to be the show. What show is this?
9 for us. Yeah.
Yeah. We should shut this down.
We'll bump the rest of the way.
We should shut this down on show 1. Yeah. And then, like, we've been smooth sailing the rest of the way.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad we got one more show then, now that we got this settled. Coach, as always, appreciate you stopping by. All right. We're joined by a very special guest, Harold Swanagan. First time on this show, Wake Up the Echoes, former Notre Dame men's basketball star, kind of a staple on campus here. First, let me get your impressions. What do you think of this new set? I know last year we did it in the new basketball facility, which was great, but now I bring you here into the plush couch. What's your impression of this space?
I think we're getting a little bougie around here. No, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful setup. I think new things always make people feel better. So, like, I think the way it's set up, I think how you've been doing it, been watching here and there, like, I think it's a great atmosphere for that. So
you've been watching?
Yeah.
Is there a particular guest or interview that you enjoyed the most?
So when B Snow was on, I was dying laughing. He's a good dude, Brian Snow. So I had to check that out.
He said he resembled my comment of being like a certified hater or something like that. Did you follow along with what he was saying? Like, he was just, I guess, owning the fact that he's through and through, he's a hater?
I think he takes stuff personally. But getting to know him over the last I've known him for a while because he did the scouting reports and stuff like that. But, like, getting to know him personally over the last few years, I think he is a certified hater. Nah, it's a joke. He's a good dude. He's a really good guy.
Good guy. Big time hater. Yeah. I want to ask you a bunch of questions about what you're doing on campus right now. But I do want to start with basketball because you obviously know the game as well as anybody. I think I really like getting your perspective in your position because You see Notre Dame, you follow them, you're nearby, but you're not in the trenches when you were a part of the staff in the same way. So you have a different perspective. Mm-hmm. They're playing really well as of late. Many people are saying that they're maybe the hottest team in the conference. What's your impression? What's worked the last 3 weeks or so that's been different about this team than it was maybe 3 months back?
I think they're starting to understand what it is to be in this league. I think coming in, coach had a lot of barriers that he had to break down to get kids to really like buy in to what he was doing. And he gets after people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's always been the case. And he's really gotten the best out of guys and the most out of guys. And he's gotten to buy him the defense, where in a world where offense is what people want to see, he's really gotten these guys to buy into defense. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to do, especially for college-age kids and high school-age kids. Like, you're going to come here and you're going to play defense. And on offense, I got plays and stuff that's going to put you in the best position to win. Mm-hmm. So come in here, play defense. You do that, you're going to play. Yeah. If you ain't, you can sit over here by me. And I like that about him. I really like it.
Yeah, I think he said one time when we talked that, like, the bench is a great motivator.
It is.
And that I've noticed, like, he's got a rotation he wants to run, but he also is not hesitant to, if you make a mistake, you're just going to come sit here for a little bit and figure out how you can get back on the court. How tough is it at this level to commit to defense? Because, like you said, everyone wants to play offense. Everyone wants to talk about their numbers. It just seems hard to get buy-in, but he's done that. Just explain to me, college kids, how hard is it to get them to buy in to locking in on defense the way they have? They're basically a top 20 defense in the country right now.
Yeah. I mean, it is what college sport and basketball has turned into. The NBA really, like, leads that, right? Like, we're an offensive league. We're going to go out there and score a lot of points. And if it trickles down to college, mm-hmm. kids want to shoot the three and run the floor and score a bunch of buckets. Not a lot of people in Indiana, people will say this, and I'm from Kentucky, but I've been here for a long time in Indiana. Defense wins championships.
Yeah.
And they really believe in that. And Shrewsberry has that background of, like, defense is going to win you games. It's always hard because it's tough. Mm-hmm. It's easy to stand outside and catch and shoot. It's easy to do that. Now, you're not going to make all your shots. It's a whole nother thing, right? Like, yeah. you're not going to be 100%. But on defense, it's really attitude and effort. If you can get attitude and effort and enthusiasm about playing defense, mm-hmm. you will win a lot of games. And I think they've bought into it. Now they're hitting shots.
Yeah.
And it's making it very difficult for people to guard them and then go down and score. Mm-hmm. And when you do that and you got a good combination of doing those things, I think, man, like, there's no ceiling for you.
Yeah.
Defense, everything starts there. You can get easy runouts. You can get easy runouts to threes. Like, the game becomes so much more simpler, and you get the enthusiasm and the hype around it.
Yeah.
With defense, man, it can be really beautiful.
And they can't set their defense sometimes. I saw this against Clemson. They wanted to run this zone, and on makes late in the game, they were able to get in their zone. But on misses, they had to run back and match up, and they couldn't get into it. And that was just a little thing I noticed. To your point, if you play good defense mm-hmm. and force misses, they can't guard you maybe the way that they want to. Something else I wanted to ask about, you said that defense wins championships. I had a coach, this is like 4th, 5th grade, mm-hmm. AAU. So take with it what you will, but I want to get your opinion on this thought that he had. He said defense wins games. Okay, mm-hmm. So you said defense wins championships. Okay. He said defense wins games, free throws win championships. What do you think about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. But it's all aspects of the game, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're playing great defense and you're putting people in situations where the score is going to be low, like, the point of the game is to outscore the other team, right? So what you have to do is stop them from scoring. If you can stop them from scoring consistently and you're going down and score, mm-hmm. in a close game, free throws are the simplest thing that's going to put you, like, that you can do on a consistent basis that everybody does every day. You can really shoot free throws and make free throws. Yes, that's gonna win championships for you.
Yeah.
If you go 14 for 15, and you lose by 1, like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, like, there's other factors that play into it. Defensively, if you get 2 more stops instead of it being a 1 point game, okay. It's a 5-point game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that changes the landscape of the game.
So you're telling me, I like the way you're looking at it. Every stop is really a 2-point gain for you, is what you're saying.
You can every possession maximal
2 or 3. Yeah.
3 points.
Yeah.
Is the max. 0 men. If you can keep those positions, if you can keep those things like they're scoring 1 point possession. I know that's one of those things that Kim Palm and everybody else talks about nowadays, but 1 point possession, that's actually pretty good. 1.5.
Keep it below 1.
Keep them below 1. You can do that. You'll win a lot of games.
Yeah.
A lot of games.
I want to ask you about what you're doing now, not just on campus, but I want to get to that, but you're coaching at St. Joe, right?
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about high school hoops. I talked to Coach Shrews a couple weeks ago. He's super dialed in, of course, to Indiana State hoops because he grew up nearby. He's, very attuned with what's going on, obviously, as the head coach here. You're coaching at St. Joe. You guys won, was it last week, in sectionals? Just how's that going? What's it been like to, I guess, also coach at the high school level, which I know is something new for you?
It's very interesting. I think now I'll talk about this a little bit later with like parents and stuff, but parents are really involved. Kids are really excited to be part of a team. Not everybody understands what it really takes to be that next level basketball player. I've had a really, really good experience at St. Joe with Eric Gaff. He's the head coach at St. Joe, and I kind of am one of the assistants. But he has a mindset of we're playing defense first, we're pressing, we're getting after people, we're really making them forcing them to make mistakes. And then we have some really good kids that are offensive players that are shot makers, drivers, finishers, and rebounders. We had a couple of kids. Parents work at the University of Notre Dame. We have a kid that's actually playing a sport, playing baseball. He's going to come in next year. He's a really good baseball player.
Oh.
He's going to play at Notre Dame next year.
Oh.
Freak athlete. But we have some really good talent on the team. And more than anything, I think the biggest thing is getting them to buy in as well.
Yeah.
We talked about earlier, but they starting to believe. We ended up winning sectional this weekend. We got regional next weekend, and I think we'll have an opportunity to beat that team as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what it's all about. I always think about when I played, but that was 100 years ago. It feels like you can tell by the grades, but
you're looking good.
But it's one of those things where kids aren't built the same. They're different mentalities. They going through COVID has changed some things for some of these kids and how much they're being able to get in the gym and do some things. So watching them grow throughout the year is one of the best things I've seen.
High school hoops is cool too because, and you see this in college too, but definitely in high school, that you've got guys that they want to play and they want to keep playing, and you have kids that the second that season's over, they might never play basketball again. So you kind of get a really interesting group of people that come together for that 3-4 months, which is fun to watch. Gold Center, help me out here. Is it grow, learn, do?
Grow, lead, do.
Grow, lead, do.
Yeah.
Grow, lead, do.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
So
fill me in, just for those that don't know what the Gold Center. What is this, year 5, year 6? It's close, right? Of being the Gold Center. Isn't it something like that? Maybe it's 4 years.
Yeah, I think it's 4.
So what have you guys been focused on? What's the objective of the Gold Center?
So the Gold Center basically is what it is. Grow, lead, do is what we do. We try to grow student athletes while they're here in different aspects of life. Teach them to lead and teach them to do and get them out of here to go do the things that they're supposed to do in life. So we kind of focus on a lot of different things. We focus on leadership, community service, life after sport. We kind of connect with Career Center and different people on campus to make sure our student athletes are getting the resources that they need for when they're done with playing the sport. Most of us know, there's only football and men's basketball, women's basketball. Some of them will go pro. But when it's over, when you're done playing your sport, it's done. You're done. So we're trying to prepare them not for the 4 years that they're here, but the 60 years after. I always say a lot of people, especially in sport, when you talk about legacy and what you've been doing, and a lot of people talk about their numbers in their sports. Your true legacy isn't necessarily the numbers in your sport. Your legacy is going to be what you're able to pass on to other people. when you have children, the people that are around you, your experiences, like that's true education, that's true learning. And what we're trying to do is get them to not break away from the team, but, you know, there's other things that's at this place that's offered to you to give you an opportunity to really, when you leave this place, go out and kill it. Mm-hmm. And that's what Notre Dame does. And that's what the promise is when you come here as a student athlete, is that we're here to make sure that you're getting all the resources and the things you need to be the best you can be if you don't go professional in sport, but go professional in the business world. Yeah, so that's what we do.
That's tough to get through, because like I was in college and I remember that mindset, and you're just so focused on like what's going on that day. And if you're playing sports, it's like what's going on next game. But like you said, if you just broaden your horizons, think about what's going to look like down the road, there's a lot of opportunity on this campus. Another topic, NIL. Mm-hmm. And it's a complicated topic. I think I had Jack Swarbrick here last week, and he's obviously been at the forefront of a lot of discussions and potential legislation, all kinds of things. And even the conversation with him is like, we don't really know where this is going. But how do you guys interact with NIL in your position? Like, what kind of discussions are you having? What are you seeing from student athletes? Just when you guys encounter NIL or think about it, what are the topics that are coming up right now as this landscape just continues to kind of evolve?
Yeah, like, so NIL is a lot, right? Like, being a former student athlete, like, I get it. Like, I understand, like, we were in the Big East. We did a lot of big things. Would love to have gotten paid. My background lends to needing money from where I grew up. So when you get an opportunity to make money doing simple things or doing things for yourself to really promote yourself, like, it's really eye-opening. Yeah. Especially the money that they're putting into different things in college sports with the playoffs and TV and things of that nature, because people see the numbers, but they don't understand what those numbers really mean. In this world, this new world of NIL, I think it's important to remember, like, not losing what college athletics is really about. And I think that's really what it's about. The student athlete is really what this is all about, right? And really preparing them for anything that they may encounter in their life. I think Jack, Father John, and the NIL office are doing some big things. We kind of do some coordinating things with them. Like last week, we had NIL night. We had some people come in and speak about taxes and how important it is for you to pay your taxes and put money away, so that when tax season does come around, you have the money to be able to pay your taxes off instead of spending all your money.
I was not thinking about taxes in college.
Yeah, no, like, so like and now it's gone from being like really student athlete centered sport, best experience you can have in your sport, to being like, you're grown up now. Yeah. Like, you're growing up really fast. A lot of back in the day, it used to be like, we were afraid that student athletes would come to school, go wild, start drinking, do a lot of different things. We still educate on drugs and alcohol and things of that nature, but also pregnancy amongst student athletes at some institutions that would happen here and there, and them having to grow up quickly when they have children. Now you're thinking about taxes. Now you're thinking about like how much money they're getting paid as student athletes while they're in college, and then having to leave here and potentially not make that money. So like,
you might be used to making it while you're here, but that income source might go away when you're gone.
Yeah, like if a student athlete makes $80,000 a year, I don't know how much you made your first job out of college.
Nah,
but like it wasn't 80 necessarily, right? It may be a $40,000 pay cut. You may be making 40 in the first job that you're making, and then you got to pay for your housing, your car insurance, like a car, your clothing, because now at college we provide things for you like gear, but it's
and a lot of meals too,
and a lot of meals. Yeah, and you're used to eating really good food. Yeah, so like, or food that's substantial for you to be able to perform at a high rate, high level. So all those things come into play. So what we do is really try to educate them on those pieces of the things that may be happening, like invest in a retirement fund early. Like at 18, if you put like $2,000 or $3,000 away a year,
you'll be happy when you're 65.
By 45, you may be a millionaire. Yeah. So like, there's a lot of things that like we try to like impart in these kids, these student athletes when they're here, to really get them to think about the future instead of just thinking about right now.
That was great to hear. I think that there's so much discussion around all the stuff that's going on with NIL, and it's all merited and it's all interesting, and who knows what's going to happen. But it's great to hear that at Notre Dame on campus, while all that's taking place, there are people like you and a staff that you work with that are thinking about all these other things. Because I just know, like, when you're 18 through 22, it's hard with everything you're doing without someone kind of prompting you to think about those things. Like, I just remember being in college. I know you do too. Like, just thinking about, where am I going to play pickup that night? What am I doing this weekend? I'm not thinking about anything past maybe a day and a half in front of where I am.
Yeah. So, like, the other thing is, like, in our office, we have like Catherine Coney, who kind of does all of our community involvement, make sure our student athletes are doing things and getting pictures to really promote what we're doing. Hunter Biven, who was with football, now he's doing alumni like engagement stuff. And then Jen Vining-Smith, who oversees the office, who has been at a lot of different places and seen a lot of different things, kind of give us a real grip on like what we can really think about and think outside the box a little bit. Mm-hmm. They, sometimes people think, I've been here for a long time. And people want to do the same thing at Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. We're really open to really opening that up and seeing what we can do to really provide the best opportunities for our student athletes to really grow.
Yeah.
So that they can go out and lead, and they can go out and do the things that we preach here at the university.
Yeah.
In a positive way.
Last question before we take a quick break. And it's actually sponsored by Yeti. It's our coldest moment of the week segment. It's always brought to you by Yeti. A little bit of a different one, though. And I'm going to ask you, because you're a Notre Dame guy, and I know you're going to have an opinion on this. I don't think I've asked you, but I've asked everyone that's come on the show that went to Notre Dame or spent a lot of time here this question. North or South dining hall?
South. And I lived in Fisher, so in Keogh. But South, because that's where we always hung out. Always hung out there. So,
why? So just because you hung out there, not because the food's better or the layout, just that was your guy's spot.
Look, like, I don't know. I mean, I used to love the dining hall.
Oh,
like,
I still love the dining hall.
And we moved on that side of campus on purpose. Like, I started out there, like, Troy Murphy was in Morrissey, David Graves was in Fisher, Martin Inglesby was in Fisher. We all lived on the south side. So when we had team meals, breakfast was always, it seemed like it was always better. Now, North is new now. Like, it's much different. It's a better setup, but we never spent that much time. Now, Jordan Cornette, he lived in Zom, so like,
Cornette was a North guy.
Yeah.
I was talking to him.
Yeah, he was a Zom guy too, which is I don't know how to say it, but
yeah. Just leave it unsaid.
I like Zoms, good dudes.
Yeah,
but we were South guys.
So I'm a North guy.
Southeast, not really.
I'm a North guy. Confession: on Saturday, I went to South. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I felt like mixing it up. Tried the pizza, wasn't the same. The pizza at North's better. My North experience, I think, is just better than South. And I gave South a chance over the weekend to impress me and change my mind, and it didn't do it. I went there, it didn't work out.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. Actually, my wife lived in Kavanaugh on the north side.
Okay.
The north. She always came to South, and I followed her.
Well, all right. We'll agree to disagree on the dining halls.
Yeah.
I want to take a quick break, and we'll come back with our From the Irish segment.
All right.
Okay, it's now time for our From the Irish segment presented by TireRack.com. Swan, we always have someone write in a question. This is from Allison in Chicago, Illinois. Okay, here's what she writes. She says, from a really big Notre Dame fan, I'm trying to get the slogan, quote, "Shake that Irish," to be part of the brand. Do you think it can catch on?
I think it can catch on, but I don't know if it'll catch on in a way that they want it to catch on.
Yeah, well, I wonder what Allison's envisioning.
Yeah.
Shake that Irish. What are you envisioning when you hear that?
Yin Yang twins. Shake it like a salt shaker.
Shake it like an Irish.
Yeah. That actually would be kind of dope if you can get it put together. Like
that. Maybe reach out to them. Gold Center reaches out to the Yin Yang twins.
Yeah. Collaboration.
They're here for the first home game next year for football 2024.
I think they would be down. They're more of a Southern group though, so I don't I don't know if they want to make it.
Not coming up to Indiana.
Yeah.
Swan, I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for all you're doing with Gold Center. You're just, I don't know. I always kind of look at you as big man on campus. Everyone sees you. You bring a smile to their face. So thanks for everything you've done since you've been here and all the different capacities you've worked in. And as always, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. That does it for this week's edition of Wake Up the Echoes, presented by TireRack.com. Thanks, as always, to the head coach, Micah Shrewsberry, for stopping by, and also big thanks to Harold Swanagan for stopping by as well. It was great to talk to him, great to talk to Coach Shrews. Remember, wherever you get your podcast, please download, whether it's on iTunes, Spotify. Go to the YouTube page. Please subscribe if you can and hit that like button as well. We will talk to you next time, and until then, remember to shake that Irish and be out.